Battle through the heavens, Grand World. Chapter 107 Crush. Do you dare to bet? Xiao Yan stood on the stage and looked down at Bai Julang. He said word by word, and his eyes were full of coldness. 1 million. Is this kid crazy? This is forcing Hall Master Bai to agree. Hearing Xiao Yan's words, everyone on the ground exploded because the disbelief of the black evil tiger that was knocked down by a single strike was quickly interrupted by this sky-piercing thunderbolt. How arrogant. I really don't know how to write the word, death. When Bai Julang heard this, he revealed a trace of shock. After that, he let out a cold laugh and said fiercely, I have roamed the Black region for dozens of years. There is nothing that I don't dare to do. If you lose today, I will take your life and 1 million monarch crystals. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Bai Julang walked into the arena while talking. Bai Lufeng, who was supported by a few subordinates of the Martial Strength Hall, also woke up at this moment. He heard what Xiao Yan said. Bai Julang's strength was ranked in the top 5 of the Black region. Although this young man had killed the Black Evil Tiger with a single strike, there was still a huge difference between a peak of monarch spirit and a monarch spirit. Could this young man really be crazy? When Bai Julang stepped onto the stage, the whispers of the people below became louder. Some of the people who were thinking had already started thinking. Although this young man was only at the monarch spirit level, but, judging from his generous manner and boldness, he was obviously not someone an ordinary monarch spirit warrior could compare with. In other words, challenging Bai Julang wasn't just a hot-headedness. However, it would be a fool's dream to use this opportunity to defeat the latter. After all, the latter's reputation in Black region hadn't come in vain. The best situation right now was that both of them had suffered serious injuries at the same time. At that time, he would be the fisherman. A puny monarch spirit doesn't have your courage and courage. It's true that you are extraordinary for daring to call me, Pan, on this stage. However, isn't it just wishful thinking to think that you can defeat me with this? Bai Julang placed his hands behind his back and looked at Xiao Yan. Although the latter had killed the Black Evil Tiger with a single punch, it wasn't worth mentioning in his eyes. He had killed countless minor 5 monarch spirit in the past few years. Won't you know after trying? Xiao Yan smiled faintly and didn't try to defend himself. Over the past few days, he had heard too much about the past of Bai Julang from Lu Wu. Although the Martial Strength Hall had 2 Hallmasters, Bai Julang had almost emptied his nephew, Bai Lufeng. There was no real power in the gang, and some powerful people did not listen to Bai Lufeng at all. Under the leadership of Bai Julang, the Martial Strength Hall had occupied nearly a third of the territory of the Black region. However, they still didn't give their nephew a single place to manage. Alright, I'll break your legs and make you kneel down and hand over 1 million monarch crystals. When mentioning monarch crystals, a trace of greed flashed in Bai Julang's eyes. The Martial Strength Hall only collected over 100,000 protection fees from the dozens of gangs under their jurisdiction every month. After removing the expenses of the gang and the recovery medicine pills that they had to buy, there were less than 80,000 monarch crystals left. Although there was some extra income from killing and robbing, it was too little in Bai Julang's eyes. His ambition was very big. He had always wanted to monopolize the entire Black region. However, ever since he suffered a loss at the hands of the Black sect, he finally knew how weak he was. With 1 million monarch crystals, the time he had to advance to the Emperor realm could be counted on one hand. With time, it was not impossible for him to annex the mysterious gang. Bai Julang's movements were not the slightest bit slow as his brain thought quickly. His body moved after his voice sounded and rushed towards Xiao Yan. His speed was more than a level faster than the Black Evil Tiger. Powerful Origin Monarch Ki wildly surged out from both of his palms and a sharp aura gradually agglomerated. 1,000 Waves Palm. Bai Julang furiously cried out. The blue light on his palm suddenly brightened, and he ruthlessly struck out at a mysterious angle. The powerful Origin Monarch Ki turned into 1,000 layers of huge waves, and kept rushing towards Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan's expression did not change. With a flip of his palm, the blue flame ruler was already in his hand. A glowing origin chains in his body was vibrating intensely. The Origin Monarch Ki that was emitting from it followed the specific meridians and instantly flowed into every part of Xiao Yan's body. 8 Directional Thunder Ruler. With a soft shout in his heart, the blue flame ruler in Xiaoyan's hand began to swing rapidly. The powerful Origin Monarch key was waved 8 times in the air in an instant. The space in front of Xiaoyan was filled with silver lightning arcs. When thousands of layers of huge waves swept down, the blue flame ruler in Xiaoyan's hand also violently collided with each other. The surrounding silver lightning arcs instantly shot out in all directions. Like tiny lightning snakes, they roared as they charged forward and charged into the monstrous 1,000 waves. The 1,000 large waves had already scattered in the blink of an eye. Under everyone's shocked eyes, the space in front of Xiaoyan seemed to be filled with endless lightning. Although the huge waves were powerful, they could not break through the protection of the lightning. Instead, the lightning arcs that filled the sky rushed into the huge waves, eroding the layers of huge waves and dissipating them. How is this possible? The 1,000 waves palm of the 100 Hall Masters was enough to kill an ordinary monarch spirit, but it didn't have any effect on this guy. Some of the higher-ups of the Martial Strength Hall were shocked when they saw this. They looked at Xiaoyan with shock, and Bai Lufeng's heart jumped to his throat. On the one hand, he hoped that Xiaoyan would win, otherwise, given Bai Julang's character. At that time, the Tuanji gang would never be able to escape the fate of being destroyed. Du Ruoxi would most likely be killed by him, but on the other hand, he didn't wish for Xiaoyan to win. After living in Black Region for so long, he knew that there would only be one outcome for losing. That was death. Bai Julang was his only family member. Although he hated Bai Julang to the core, he still couldn't bear it. Bastard, you're actually alright. Bai Julang's eyes were filled with shock, then he smiled coldly. The Origin Monarch key in his body surged out crazily once again, and the key that was much sharper than before burst out once again. 1,000 waves palm, 1,000 layered waves. He let out an angry shout. On Bai Julang's palm, an even more powerful Origin Monarch key caused some of the weaker people below to turn pale. A peak of Monarch Spirit Warrior was really powerful. 1,000 waves palm was a high-grade Monarch spell. It was divided into 3 steps, 10 surges, 100 waves, and 1,000 waves. Each step was stronger than the last. In the beginning, Bai Julang had already used the 100 waves, but he never thought it would have no effect on Xiaoyan. He made up his mind and unleashed all the Origin Monarch key on his body, unleashing the strongest step of the 1,000 waves palm. Feeling the pressure on the blue flame ruler increasing, Xiaoyan frowned slightly. Through the layers of waves, he saw the proud look in Bai Julang's eyes. The corner of Xiaoyan's mouth revealed a trace of a cold smile. After that, he exerted force on his wrist, and the lightning arcs attached to the surface of the blue flame ruler instantly exploded. Like a giant blade that cut through the sky and the sea, the blue flame ruler directly cut through the layers of waves. The ruler's blade pointed straight at Bai Julang. It actually broke through. When Bai Julang, who was feeling proud of himself, saw this, he felt as if he had been struck by lightning. The monarch skill that he was most proud of had been broken by a puny monarch spirit. The shock in his heart could be imagined. Seeing that Xiaoyan was about to approach him, Bai Julang let out an angry roar as if he had just woken up from a dream. Both of his palms struck out. Countless waves of water rushed towards Xiaoyan from all directions. Insignificant skill. Xiaoyan coldly snorted. Under the observation of Alien Realm Soul, he had seen every little movement of Bai Julang. When he saw the waves that covered the sky and covered the earth, Xiaoyan waved the blue flame ruler in his hand once again. In a short period of time, the sharp aura had scattered all the waves. When he saw that his strongest monarch skill was broken by Xiaoyan so easily, a trace of panic appeared on Bai Julang's face. He had thought that there might be a fierce battle between him and Xiaoyan, but he had never thought that he would be defeated so thoroughly. Old thing, show me what other skills you have. Xiaoyan held the blue flame ruler and pointed at Bai Julang with a cold expression. Bai Julang's monarch skill was indeed very powerful, but unfortunately, its user was too weak. If it was used by an emperor, Xiaoyan would need to use a lot of energy to break it. Bai Julang's eyes swept across the crowd below the stage. Many of them were thinking about the Martial Strength Hall. It was because of him that they didn't dare to act rashly. Therefore, for the sake of their goal, they couldn't afford to lose. When his eyes swept across the crowd below the stage, a cold smile suddenly emerged on Bai Julang's face. He smiled coldly at Xiaoyan, then his body flashed and he rushed towards Du Ruoxi, who was standing in front of the people from the Tuanji gang. Chapter end. Hi guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.